Hello everybody, I'm Sleepy, and today we've got a surprisingly anticipated redesign. I didn't think many people would want a Bowser redesign since he's already pretty solid, but maybe people just want to see a fresh take on a stale archetype. Bowser is one of Smash's most classic heavyweights. If you want to feel like a true heavyweight monster, then pick Ganondorf or Bowser. He's a big, strong, scary bully, so in Ultimate, they let you really make your opponent feel bullied. With crazy survivability, powerful attacks, super armor, and great speed, Bowser has come a long way in Smash. Even though he can be annoying, Ultimate Bowser has been a respectable success. We finally have a viable heavyweight that doesn't feel like they're just abusing a gimmick to win. They feel like a real heavy. This is probably the best version of Bowser we'll ever get competitively, but that doesn't mean I don't want to try and see what a new one could look like. So let's try and create a brand new branch of the heavy archetype that lets Bowser bully people even harder. But before that, Bowser needs a real makeover because his presentation feels super old. For costumes, he gets the Wedding Bowser alt and Dry Bowser alt. Plus, his blue alt has been replaced with the popular Dark Bowser skin from Bowser's Inside Story. That boss sure was hard, but at least the music slaps! Usually, Nintendo doesn't like referencing the spin-off versions of the main cast, but to me and the millions of Mario and Luigi fans, this is the definitive Bowser. It's one of his most iconic appearances, and he's arguably at his wittiest, so it deserves its fair share of references in a new moveset. Because yes, Bowser is intimidating when he wants to be, but he's not mindless. I like Bowser's down taunt actually, because it shows off his goofier side. He's a cocky bastard who wants to fight you. In Smash, he doesn't feel excited to fight, he just feels angry. Melee Bowser gave him generic monster sounds, and that was okay for the time, since that's basically what he sounded like in 64. But since then, he has gained a consistent official voice that he hasn't been using in Smash for some reason. Bowser now uses his actual voice instead of just Godzilla noises. His entrance animation was changed a bit. Instead of walking out of a fire portal for no reason, now the fire behind him resembles the Bowser symbol, and it shrinks when he steps out. This reminds me of a reversed version of Mario's death screen, where instead of zooming into the Bowser logo, you zoom out of it. During his entrance animation, he uses the Showtime voice click from Bowser's Inside Story. Remember that? God, Bowser was so cool. His up taunt is now an evil laugh as he crosses his arms, which is very Bowser. Bowser's bite taunt now has a weak hitbox, and we can next start with the gameplay changes. First thing I want to address is his crazy speed in Ultimate. I really do appreciate Bowser being fast, but I think he was overtuned just a bit. In the first couple games, Bowser was unreasonably slow. It's not even accurate either, this dude can book it when he wants to run. So we should let Bowser have his crazy good run speed, but we'll just make it take slightly longer to get there. I think his initial dash should be slightly slower, so he's a terrifying monster when he gets going, but sometimes it can be hard to get going. Unfortunately, he also has a god-awful turnaround animation. And just to kick him while he's down, his short hop goes a little higher, but his double jump was nerfed, making his recovery worse. The next change made it even worse again because I also drastically increased his gravity.
Hi, my name's Kyle. I represent Bowser Mains, and I'd like to ask which one of us, pissed in your cereal this morning?
Don't worry guys, I'm not nerfing Bowser for no reason. It'll make sense later. Keep in mind that in order to redesign an already balanced character, every nerf comes with a buff, so his double jump's pretty bad now. However, heavies in Smash need good recoveries, otherwise they can't live long enough to abuse their heavyweight advantage. So remind me later to give him a good up B, alright? He now has one of the fastest fall speeds in the game. I thought this would be necessary since Bowser has a hard time landing already, but later in this moveset I made it even worse by getting rid of down air and thus replacing one of his only landing options. So the better fall speed helps him to get to the ground faster. In case you didn't know, your fall speed also helps resist the knockback of moves that send you up. This new gravity makes this vertical survivability absolutely absurd. It's even better than DDD's. If your only kill options are vertical, then he's going to be consistently living past 200% with good DI. Of course, higher fall speed means that Bowser will get comboed even harder now. At low percents, getting hit by one up tilt could take you to 100% before you're even able to play again. That would kind of suck, so I want to give Bowser a fighting chance. At low percent at least. Now, his unique passive Tough Guy is more potent at low percent, getting to shrug off almost anyone's tilts and projectiles. Tough Guy really feels like passive heavy armor now, as broken as that sounds. As Bowser, you'll want to avoid grabs and remain mostly grounded at low percent. Tough Guy is a bit more effective on the ground than in the air, so juggling Bowser is still an effective plan. Combining Tough Guy with crouch canceling makes him practically unmovable and can let him shrug off incredibly strong attacks like it's nothing. It's fair. Incredible weakness calls for incredible strength. Luckily for the opponent though, his heavy armor gets progressively weaker after 30%. It inversely scales with rage, so the higher your rage, the weaker Tough Guy gets. This idea is admittedly experimental. No doubt buffing Tough Guy would lead to a ton of BS, especially at low percent. But if we're being honest, by the time Bowser is done getting comboed, he's usually already at 150 anyways, and Tough Guy is gone. His crawl animation is different now too. He isn't shuffling low to the floor anymore, it's no low profile. Let's stop pretending like he's even trying to duck under projectiles. Now he's crawling like a proper turtle, quadruped style. It's faster than his old crawl and adds a little bit extra defense when combined with Tough Guy. Footstooling Bowser now hurts the opponent slightly. Unlike Piranha Plant, it doesn't flinch because it's not an attack, it's a passive mechanic. Bowser still gets footstooled and falls, it's just that they take like 5%. That's because in Mario's games, he rarely has the ability to step on it. And lastly, I wanted to give a huge buff to the distance his air dodge travels. He even goes back into his shell like in Melee. I just think he could use the extra recovery tool. Oh, would you look at that? It's time for Grounded Normals! Jab 1 has a bit less startup and a good deal less end lag, making it one of his few safe moves and poking tools. Jab 2 has more startup, but it's much stronger and has lots of active frames like F-tilt. It acts a bit like Samus's jab, if you remember that redesign. So even though Jab 1 doesn't combo into Jab 2, both hits are useful in other areas. Jab 2 is a nice mix-up for spot dodge reading tool. I moved Bowser's hand sweep down tilt over to forward tilt. F-tilt now requires 2 inputs like Piranha Plant's F-tilt. The first hit of F-tilt has a 100% chance to trip, making it a very potent combo starter. However, it gets too much knockback growth and launches them away after mid-percent. The second hit is pretty standard. But if you just want to hit the first hit into a jab or something, the timing is really tight. F-tilt grab must be frame perfect. Up tilt is already pretty strong, I think, so maybe it should be safer on shield as a quality of life buff. Down tilt is now a fiery tail sweep. The flames that come off his tail make it a bit disjointed. It's a move that he's used twice now, once in Mario 3D Land and again in Mario Odyssey. It's a relatively quick to come out move, but it's very laggy, so it's effective as a counterattack after crouch canceling something. Bowser's dash attack has changed to this shell roll move he's used in both Mario Galaxy and Mario & Luigi Bowser's Inside Story. My biggest problem with it is that it's too visually similar to DK's dash attack. So Bowser first dives forward, then starts rolling a bit like Mario. So it's a 2-hit move. The dive is pretty tiny. He just barely leaves the ground and only leaps a few centimeters forward. However, if you dive off a ledge, then the move gets cancelled and you can act right afterwards. It must be a dive at the start of the move though. The shell roll doesn't go off of ledge like DK's, but it lingers for a while, making it effective at 2-framing and ledge trapping. It is pretty punishable though. The shell roll is also used in his new backwards roll animation. F-Smash is cool, but this new one is far superior. F-Smash is now a direct reference to Bowser's Punch from Mario & Luigi Bowser's Inside Story. When fully charged, he chuckles as his F-Smash displays an excellent from the Mario & Luigi games where the opponent got punched. The different charge levels have corresponding text from Bowser's Inside Story, ranging from okay to the oh-so-satisfying excellent. Bowser's F-Smash doesn't have super armor on release anymore unless it's fully charged. Up Smash has more vertical range because Bowser jumps up higher than before. Up Smash has a ton of hits done on the late hit. It can occasionally start combos. Down Smash also loses its super armor as reparations for the Tough Guy buffs. Bowser's Pivot Grab has increased range. Bowser's Pummel is a bite, slow but very high damage. Bowser's Down Throw has essentially set knockback now because it barely grows. Down Throw has a ton of base knockback and sends straight forward, so much so that if they DI down, they can actually tech on the stage. However, Down Throw's damage depends on how heavy the opponent is. If you get your hands on Pikachu, it should do a lot of damage. Forward Throw sends people more upwards. Back Throw has Bowser take the opponent into his shell and spin around like the Whirling Fortress. Then Bowser tosses you out. His aerials should be an interesting topic considering that because of his relatively low jumps and very high fall speed, he doesn't get a lot of airtime. Nair is a weird move. I really don't like it. On a heavyweight like Bowser, I don't want to control my drift in such a way that my sucky multi-hit move doesn't pop them out of it. I either want a fast move with lots of end lag or a slow move with low end lag, alright? I want a strong single-hit move, which is what Melee and Brawl Bowser had. Nair has him rotate in a circle while spinning in his shell. It's been heavily buffed since Melee and Brawl. It has more range since the circle he revolves around is bigger. It hits a lot harder, and it comes out faster. It's slow, thanks to the long active frames and high FAF, It's pretty laggy when landing, but can be alleviated with good ledge cancels. And if you land while he's moving back, it's safe on shield against most people. Fair has 4 more startup frames and less base knockback, but Fair has much less end lag and landing lag. Fair has lots of knockback growth. It has an increased hit lag multiplier too, just to make it more fun to hit. Up air probably needs to be repurposed. Bowser can't jump very high, and his fall speed makes it really unlikely that he'll be killing off the top with anything besides up tilt and up smash. It could send forward like Ganondorf, but I have a more interesting fix. He has an abundance of kill moves, but not many reliable ways to set up into them. So maybe up air could do that. Up air is a much bigger hitbox and less landing lag, but it's slower. Up air deals significant damage, but it has very weak knockback. It always launches them up, and has low knockback scaling, combined with tons of hit stun. Landing up air is safe on shield if spaced and sets up into dangerous kill confirms like up smash or up tilt. Bear has the same FAF, but a crap ton of active frames now. He sticks his leg out for edge guards, but it's very risky thanks to his high fall speed, so the late hit has to be pretty strong too. Dare is no longer a stall and fall like I mentioned earlier. I always felt that he didn't need Dare and down B to dive. Sometimes it made down B feel useless. Instead, what I've always wanted for Bowser is just a big, strong spike. Nothing fancy, just a Dare that doesn't kill you when you land it. So now he has a big downward punch. It's kinda similar to Ryu or Terry's down air, so he can spike you from the safety of the stage. It's too risky for Bowser to be off stage for long, so this fits his game plan. It's immensely powerful and the whole arm is invincible. It has no sour spot, so it just always spikes. It has a bit of wind up, but virtually no cooldown at all, so it auto-cancels from short hop. Landing up air combos into Dare for low percent kills by the ledge. So it's a good move for him, since he doesn't like spending the time off stage. But now you can see why Bowser falls faster. He has like no landing options, because I got rid of Dare. If he was even a little bit floaty, he would have the worst disadvantage state in Smash history. Next we go to the character's Spice, the specials. I wanna hurry up, because I'm late, and I've been talking so long that I feel like I'm gonna throw up. Pressing shield and B initiates grounded Whirling Fortress. Well then what happened to up B? Is this foreshadowing? Yes, I changed it, I already said that. But first, neutral B. Fire Breath now functions more like Bowser's fire attack in BIS. The fire in his mouth goes through different phases, from OK to excellent. You tap B to start charging and can press B again to release the flames from your mouth. But to do the most damage, you have to wait until the last moment. Bowser's head will turn red for a moment, which is your cue to blow. The maximum potential for the flames makes them huge, deal crazy damage, and last a long time. It's difficult to time though, because you only have a few frames to time an excellent. If you get it wrong and press it too late, Bowser will choke on his fire, dealing 1% to himself, and then he's forced to breathe out some sad-looking smoke. The move's timer runs quite fast. You have less than a second total before the timer passes excellent and you choke. Charging neutral B in the air will slow down your fall speed a lot. Unlike in BIS though, the different stages of Fire Breath are unique. They're basically split into 2 types. The weak type, okay and good, and the strong type, great and excellent. The weaker types shoot a fireball, and the stronger types shoot a constant stream of fire. Bowser has precise control over his Fire Breath, so instead of every level of fire looking the same but bigger, each level is shaped slightly different and accomplishes different things, giving you a reason to sometimes use levels under excellent. To take full advantage of that, I added a mechanic that wasn't in BIS's combat, since there was no reason to use a lower level in that game. During neutral B, you can hold back while charging, and Bowser will control his flames to get smaller, letting you rewind the timer. It's also just helpful for new Bowser players because they get more time until they think they're ready to release it. For the levels themselves, the OK Fire Breath is a puny fireball that barely leaves his mouth before disappearing. It's short-ranged but fast. It's like having an aerial power wave come out of Bowser's mouth. It's non-committal, so that accidentally pressing neutral B won't get you killed. You can just cycle back to OK and use the move somewhat safely. The good Fire Breath is safe from far away, but neutral B is starting to get more laggy. It has the most range of them all. Good Fire makes him shoot a big, scary fireball across the stage to knock people away. It's not as strong as it looks, but even an underwhelming projectile is better than none. Great Fire Breath is the one most similar to his normal Fire Breath. Bowser's Fire Breath is meant to parallel Mario's Water. It has more horizontal range and doesn't decrease in size thanks to having a set time it's active. Great Fire Breath deals great damage, but it doesn't flinch them unless you're right next to him. Instead, nearly the whole thing is a super hot wind box to push them away and deal damage. The small area right in front of his mouth, Bowser will trap them and blow them away at the end of the move. And finally, excellent! Excellent Fire Breath is simply ridiculous. The amount of area the flames cover is a nightmare. Luckily, Excellent Fire Breath is pointed straight up and can't be aimed. The inner hitbox by the purple flames are devastating multi-hits that trap you in and drag you further into the move. It actually has a finisher with plain old knockback this time, and it kills stupid early. The outer flames are weaker and don't suck you in, but unlike the hitbox-windbox combo the outer hitbox had before, it simply knocks them back. The price of this powerful move is its awful end lag. Not only does it have a bazillion active frames, so it's easy to whiff punish, but it just plain old has a lot of end lag too. Fire Breath has a static time and can't be extended or shortened via button holding. It does work a bit differently when used mid-air. It's another parallel to Mario's Water. Bowser's vertical recovery would be pretty awful in this game, so I added in a way around it if used while falling. Bowser points his head down and uses the Excellent Fire Breath to propel himself high up into the sky. It goes really high up, but the main issue is learning how to consistently time your neutral B to be excellent every time. Side B has been giving me a lot of trouble. I wanted to make it the hat-punching thing from Odyssey to parallel Mario, but I couldn't think of a fun way to use it. So I went with old reliable, PM Bowser Side B. I only changed a couple things about it. It has landing lag now, 8 frames, so landing with Side B is usually safer than throwing it out. And it comes out on frame 9 instead of 6 like it does now, so it's a bit nerfed. But it has an outer hitbox now, and the outer hitbox is called the Koopa Claw. It sends people down and behind him, for no discernible reason. I don't know why I wrote that down. Please, somebody tell me what that would actually do, because I don't remember. As for the 4 throws, it differs from PM. Forward throw simply makes Bowser punch you in the gut and you go flying. Down throw shows Bowser delivering the hardest headbutt in history. Seriously, when this connects, I want it to sound like 2 bowling balls smashing together. It spikes people now. Back throw kills off the top like cargo back throw and fishing rod. Bowser drags them like K. Rool does, but at the end of the move he throws them up instead of out. He needed another way to kill off the top because his Koopa up throw is not so simple. Throwing someone up initiates Flying Slam. Flying Slam flies up much higher. It will always reach the top of the screen like Zoom. You'll always fall for the center of the stage, so you can use this as a recovery if you're desperate. And just for fun, Side B can snap to ledge and increases his ledge grab range. Up B is the Koopa Clown Copter. Bowser has good control of it going left or right, but it's a very slow move. Its distance both vertically and horizontally is comparable to the spinning Kong, so it doesn't go very high. Plus, it will automatically self-destruct at the peak like Bowser Jr. But unlike Jr., Bowser is still inside the copter, so the explosion will damage him too. Luckily, you can jump out of Up B whenever you want, before it blows up of course. The explosion is dangerous because it spikes. Up B can be tricky for an opponent to edgeguard. When it's slowly floating up, it can't be challenged from anywhere but above him. So give him a good spike before he jumps out and he'll get stuck. However, predicting when Bowser will jump out is pretty tough. You get one last chance after he jumps out. You can knock him back in and he'll get stuck inside the up B until it blows up. It's fun to spike him or footstool him right back into his cart before he jumps out. I wanted to give Bowser a better recovery, but I still wanted there to be a counterpoint. I didn't want to do free recovery. Being able to jump out of up B is ridiculously good, so that's another reason I lowered his double jump and raised fall speed. The Clown Car is one of Bowser's most common weapons. It's used just as much as Eggman's Eggmobile, so it makes sense to include it as a recovery. You might think this is cool and makes sense, but in Smash 4 you will realize why I'm so against giving this to him, and why I was so hesitant to include it at the end. If you have any up B or side B ideas for Bowser, leave them down in the comments below and I'd love to read them. Down B is perfectly fine. It fits Bowser quite well, and it's not bad. You know, it's simple, but it works, what can I say? But if I had to add something, then I'd probably give it something to closer tie it into the Mario 3 version. So now it can break through platforms. It doesn't just go through them either like Yoshi, no, Bowser completely destroys any semi-solid platforms and breaks through. Obviously it can't be permanent though, otherwise there'd be no stage. So the platforms regenerate after a couple seconds. I guess another cool thing you could do is make it jump cancelable before the hitbox actually comes out. Also, change the landing animation so that he's stuck in the ground. The power and frame data is pretty much the same though. Final Smash is exciting because you can once again control the monstrous Giga Bowser. Albeit he's a bit smaller this time and it only lasts 10 seconds. Still, Bowser might have one of the fiercest Final Smashes in the game, and with his crazy survivability, the chances are that if he even gets the lead a little bit, he's gonna make a comeback at the last second. All your moves work like they usually do, except Up B. Putting Giga Bowser on a big old clown car looks silly, so it's just different now. Up B is Giga Bowser's strongest move. It's visually the same as his new Ultimate Final Smash. He jumps into the background and punches. However, you can't control the punch. It will always hit the center of the screen, and when used, it ends your transformation early. Giga Bowser has very slow charge rate and a retention time of 5 seconds. All in all, pretty broken. But King Koopa deserves the best. This redesign is a balancing nightmare because of how polarizing I made him. Even his final smash is brain dead. But polarizing characters can be some of the most fun. With all these crazy over-the-top ways to make Bowser feel invincible, at the very least, it very much feels like Bowser. So, that's all for today. See you later, and good night.